Welcome, dear listener. Imagine a kingdom cloaked in eternal winter, where the whispers of betrayal float like snow through the towering castle halls. A land where beauty is power, and envy is deadly. This is not the fairy tale you thought you knew. In Snow White 2025 live action, the story begins in shadows, with secrets and danger lurking behind every gilded door. A queen's obsession, a young girl's survival, and a journey that will defy every expectation. The movie opens with the kingdom in splendor, yet tinged with tension. Queen Ravenna, regal and terrifyingly beautiful, gazes into her enchanted mirror. Her eyes, cold and calculating, reflect not just her own image but her deepest fears. The mirror whispers back, "You are the fairest, my queen." But only for now. Ravenna's jaw tightens. The magic is never wrong, and the mirror hints at a coming threat. A girl, born under a rare celestial event, whose beauty will surpass her own. The queen's obsession begins, and with it, the shadow of danger falls over the land. Meanwhile, in the northern forests, a humble village bustles with life, unaware of the looming peril. Here lives Snow White, known as Princess Alexandra by birth but hidden among peasants for her own protection. She's spirited, intelligent, and kind, yet she carries the weight of a destiny she doesn't yet understand. Every child in the village knows stories of the evil queen, but Snow White feels a strange pull and unease she cannot explain. There's a longing for something more, for a life beyond the boundaries of her small home. The first major twist comes when Ravenna's assassins track Snow White. Cloaked figures strike at night, moving like shadows between trees. Snow White, awake by instinct, narrowly escapes, fleeing into the dark forest. The suspense is palpable. Each step she takes could be her last. Each shadow could hide a killer. She stumbles through the snow, terrified but determined to survive. And then, just when she thinks she's cornered, a mysterious figure appears, a huntsman. His presence is commanding, yet cautious. He saves her from the queen's men, but his motives are unclear. The tension builds. Can she trust him, or is he a pawn in the queen's deadly game? Snow White's flight leads her to a hidden valley, a secluded sanctuary filled with towering cliffs and crystalline streams. Here she discovers the dwarves, not just whimsical creatures, but seasoned warriors who've survived countless battles with the queen's forces. Each dwarf has a distinct personality. The leader, stern yet wise. The fighter, fierce and protective. The scout, quick and clever. And others, all bound together by loyalty and courage. Their home is both magical and foreboding, filled with traps and secrets, reflecting their vigilance against Ravenna's reach. Snow White slowly integrates into this new world. She trains with the dwarves, learning to defend herself, to read the signs of danger, and to move with stealth and precision. Suspense builds as Ravenna's magic infiltrates even the valley. Dark wolves, illusions, and enchanted storms threaten their peace, making every day a battle for survival. The queen's obsession with Snow White intensifies, her actions growing increasingly erratic and violent. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Ravenna's desperation becomes clear. The mirror shows visions of Snow White gaining strength, alliances forming, and the people beginning to see the queen for what she truly is. Ravenna's beauty starts to fade slightly with each passing day, a visual manifestation of her dwindling power. The audience feels a creeping sense of dread. Ravenna is unpredictable, cunning, and utterly ruthless. Every move she makes is calculated, yet tinged with instability. In the valley, Snow White uncovers fragments of her past, her royal heritage, the betrayal that led to her mother's death, and the queen's rise to power. Each revelation is layered with suspense. She learns that her parents' deaths were orchestrated to secure the throne, and that Ravenna's cruelty extends far beyond vanity. The stakes rise. Snow White is not just fighting for herself, but for the kingdom that has suffered under Ravenna's tyranny. Tension escalates as Snow White and the dwarves launch a daring mission to reclaim an ancient artifact, an enchanted apple that holds the key to the queen's power. Their journey is perilous. Icy rivers, treacherous cliffs, and magical traps test their courage. Suspense mounts with every step. Snow White faces her fears head-on, narrowly escaping deadly encounters, and proving her bravery and cunning. The climax of Part 1 builds when Snow White faces her first direct confrontation with Ravenna. The queen arrives at the valley with dark magic and armies of shadowed warriors. Snow White stands at the precipice, dwarves at her side, hearts pounding. The battle is brutal, combining strategy, courage, and raw magical power. Snow White survives narrowly, learning the queen's weaknesses, but the confrontation ends ambiguously, leaving the audience on edge, craving Part 2. Through it all, the suspense is maintained by small, creeping threats, whispers in the woods, shadowy figures at the periphery, magical illusions designed to confuse and terrify. Each scene pushes Snow White to grow stronger, faster, and smarter. By the end of Part 1, she is transformed from a hidden princess into a formidable young leader, ready to challenge a queen whose very existence threatens the kingdom. Part 1 closes with Snow White gazing at the castle from a distant ridge, snow falling around her, dwarves standing steadfast behind her. The wind carries Ravenna's laughter, chilling and triumphant, promising that the final showdown is coming. Snow White clenches her fists, determination in her eyes. She is ready, but the queen's power is greater than anything she has faced before. The audience is left in suspense, knowing that the next chapter will decide the fate of an entire kingdom. The first light of dawn glimmers over the snowy peaks, but there is no peace. Snow White stands with the dwarves at the edge of the forest, the weight of destiny pressing heavily upon her. The previous night's confrontation with Ravenna has left the valley scar trees shattered, rocks blackened by magic, and the chilling echoes of the queen's laughter lingering in the air. Every breath feels like a reminder that the enemy is far from defeated. Snow White surveys the landscape, her mind racing. She knows Ravenna is gathering her strength in the castle, preparing to strike again, more cunning and ruthless than ever. Yet this time, Snow White is not alone. The dwarves, once simple guardians, have become warriors, each one sharpened by survival, battle, and loyalty. Even the forest itself seems alive, whispering secrets, offering paths and hiding places that could turn the tide in their favor. The suspense is palpably. Shadow could conceal an enemy. Every step could trigger the queen's traps. Word comes from scouts. Ravenna is summoning dark magic to raise an army of enchanted soldiers, warriors from old battles whose souls are bound by her will. Snow White feels a chill as the scouts describe the horrors a legion moving as one, unstoppable unless countered by extraordinary strategy. She realizes the fight will not be won by strength alone. Wit, courage, and the bonds she has forged are her only weapons against a force that defies reason. With the dwarves by her side, Snow White devises a plan. They will infiltrate the castle under the cover of night, using secret passages and knowledge of the queen's old defenses. Every moment is filled with suspense. One misstep could awaken traps or alert Ravenna's magical sentinels. As they move through the shadowed corridors, the air grows thick with tension. Echoes of their own footsteps sound like drums heralding doom. Even the dwarves exchange wary glances, their hands gripping weapons forged with care and necessity. Suddenly, a hidden blade swings from above, a trap left to ensnare intruders. Snow White reacts instantly, ducking just in time as the dwarves spring into action, dismantling the mechanism. The queen's presence feels closer with every corridor, her magic seeping through the walls like smoke. Snow White's heart pounds, adrenaline sharpening her senses. Each step forward is a gamble. The suspense is relentless, keeping the audience on edge. As they reach the throne room, the air shimmers with dark enchantment. Ravenna is there, her beauty immaculate, but her aura deadly. The enchanted mirror floats beside her, glowing with a crimson light that pulses like a heartbeat. Snow White steps forward, dwarfs behind her, and for the first time, the queen speaks directly to her. Her voice is smooth, honeyed, yet laced with venom. "You cannot defeat me, child. Beauty and power are my birthright. You are nothing but a fleeting shadow." Snow White answers not with words but with defiance. She moves closer, eyes locked on the queen's, recognizing that the power of Ravenna's magic is tied to vanity and fear. Every scene is tense, a chess game where one wrong move could mean death. Ravenna strikes, and the castle erupts in chaos. Walls crack, floors collapse, and enchanted weapons fly through the air. Snow White fights with the dwarves, combining their strength, intelligence, and agility, countering each spell with quick thinking and courage. During the battle, Snow White discovers a hidden weakness. The queen's magic, fueled by jealousy and obsession, falters when confronted with acts of courage and selflessness. The dwarves take strategic positions, each luring enchanted soldiers into traps, weakening the queen's army. Suspense builds with each sequence. The audience is caught between awe at Snow White's ingenuity and dread for what Ravenna might unleash next. The pivotal moment comes when Ravenna summons a colossal magical storm inside the castle, intent on destroying everyone within. Snow White realizes that she cannot fight alone. She calls upon the dwarves and villagers, those who have survived the queen's earlier attacks, to channel their collective bravery and hope. The energy manifests as a protective shield, shimmering with light that clashes with Ravenna's dark aura. The confrontation escalates into a visual spectacle, a mix of suspense, strategy, and magic that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. Snow White moves closer to Ravenna, dodging blasts of dark energy and fallen debris. She raises the enchanted apple, an artifact of immense power. The queen lunges to stop her, but Snow White's courage and quick thinking allow her to outmaneuver the attacks. In a tense, climactic moment, she offers the apple as a reflection, a mirror of Ravenna's own vanity. The queen hesitates, her obsession momentarily shattered by the reminder of herself and the consequences of her envy. The suspense peaks as Ravenna's power falters. Snow White seizes the moment, combining her own inner strength with the artifact's magic. Light bursts forth, overwhelming the darkness. Ravenna screams, her form flickering between human and shadow, until she collapses, finally defeated. The enchanted mirror shatters, and with it, the remnants of Ravenna's magic dissipate. Snow White stands victorious, her eyes reflecting both relief and the weight of the trials she has endured. Yet the victory is bittersweet. The castle is in ruins, the valley scarred, and the cost of survival evident in every fallen ally. The dwarves mourn their losses, yet they recognize the importance of what has been accomplished. Snow White steps forward, offering reassurance and leadership, promising to rebuild the kingdom not with fear or control, but with unity and hope. The suspense slowly eases, replaced by triumph and the satisfaction of justice served. The final scenes are both intimate and grand. Snow White walks through the village, her presence inspiring courage and renewal. She restores the balance between the people and the magical creatures that inhabit the kingdom, forging bonds of trust and cooperation. The once dreaded forest becomes a place of wonder, and the villagers learn that understanding and respect are stronger than fear. Snow White's journey is complete, yet the film hints at the enduring lessons of vigilance, bravery, and compassion that will shape the future. The movie closes with Snow White gazing at the horizon, the sun rising over a healed kingdom. Her eyes carried the wisdom of experience, the quiet joy of survival, and the determination to lead with fairness. The dwarves gather beside her, their loyalty unwavering, a testament to the bonds forged in adversity. In the distance, the remnants of Ravenna's magic fade, leaving behind a world restored but forever changed by the trials of one young woman's courage. Snow White 2025, live action is more than a retelling. It is a suspenseful, dramatic, and emotionally charged journey. From hidden forests and secret valleys to treacherous castle corridors and magical confrontations, the story captures the essence of the classic tale while infusing it with tension, stakes, and cinematic wonder. It explores themes of courage, justice, the consequences of envy, and the power of selflessness. Each scene builds on the last, culminating in a climax that satisfies both narratively and emotionally, leaving viewers inspired and captivated. By the end, Snow White has transformed from a hidden, hunted girl into a wise and courageous leader. She embodies hope, resilience, and the belief that goodness can triumph even over the darkest magic. The suspense, the action, the personal growth, and the climactic resolution all combine to make this live-action adaptation a gripping, unforgettable cinematic experience.